It makes a difference.
Well, good evening and welcome everyone, and welcome to Wedmore Parish Council meeting Wednesday the 20th of February. Thank you. Please be reminded that we are recording tonight. Any apologies for
Apologies, Chairman, from Councillors Badman, Costello, Sampson, Seymour and David Huxtable.
Moving on to item 2, there will be no reports from Holly or David. Item 3, to record any declarations of interest. And item 4, minutes of the meeting held on the 16th of January 2019.
Certainly, Chair, I've had no comments.
Okay. Any item 6, any matters arising? Move on to the disabled access.
Yes, I had a phone call from Pete Brown this morning, who's liaising on our behalf with Central Homes. The chap who made an appointment to see a fortnight ago didn't turn up, but he's now got a meeting with them next Wednesday. And the plan is, of course, that we try and slot in our arrangement here with the realignment of the parking at the bungalows further up the road. So it's just in the hand, I'm afraid. I can't do more than that.
Okay. Item B.
Oh yes, well, Dennis Prialis is here tonight and he has agreed to talk at the annual assembly. I suppose depending how it goes tonight.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone with any tomatoes. Excellent, thank you. Item 7, financial matters.
So the accounts have been audited by Suzanne Metters and Laura Sampson, and they are in order. All the bills have been paid, everything's up to date. One thing I must say, that Pete Brown rang me this morning and asked for £5,000 to be paid tomorrow, which we can do. This was part of the grant for the playing fields, which was authorised back in July last year. We did authorise £5,000 for the fitting out of the new pavilion up there.
Yep.
So it's been approved anyway, so we will pay that from the funds tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, item 8, I will now pass you over to Dr. Brialis and you'll talk on passive housing.
Okay.
Many thanks for coming.
No, pleasure, thank you so much.
How do you spell your name?
What I'm going to do is give you this. If you can pass those round, there's a brochure, a little leaflet, and there's my card. Now the reason for doing that is because this really would like to take an hour to do this, and I've only got 15 minutes. So I'm going to rush through things, and I've taken a lot of slides out. But if I can whet your appetite, give me a call, send me an email, come and see the house. It's 2 minutes up the road, and I can show you all the bits in the house which will make it more meaningful. So what I want to do is two things really. One is to give you a little bit of knowledge on passive houses. Why would you have a passive house? And secondly, I'd just like to show you a few things on planning. Just some suggestions about planning, okay, for developers. Something that you might think, oh gosh, could we ask for that? So the first thing is, can we afford to keep wasting our energy? Now what tempted me to start this was an article, and it said, you can heat your house with 2 people and a television, that's all you need. And I thought, wow, and it's true. I said to my wife, I said, 2 people and a television, but they haven't said what the 2 people have to be doing. She said, well, get a big TV, don't get excited. So, if we look at the, picture of the, so this is, I think I have to go back, sorry, I need to go back on the slide. Let me go back, sorry. Let me just come out of this. My slides have gone a bit over. Okay. Right, so, apologies. Slides have started to go on their own track for some reason. Why is it going the wrong way? Excuse me. Oh, here we go. Okay. Right, we'll start with this. Okay, so how did it all start? Right, 1991, prototype in Germany, Passive House Institute was created. Now what it is in fact, it's just simply a standard, a building standard that will give you very low energy. In other words, almost no heating requirement. The objective is to reduce the heating costs in a house by 90%, and it does work. So that's the idea. And this is the house we built round the corner. It's not an affordable house, but I'm going to show you later that this system of passive houses really works well for affordable houses. Works across the range. So this is what we did, and we get a 90% reduction in our heating costs. So this is us here. There aren't that many in the country, maybe 200 or 300, but they are growing quite rapidly, and I'll show you later in the slides which local authorities are building passive houses. You might be surprised. So, what are the principles? There's 5 main principles. The first one is insulation. So we want to just have good insulation in the walls and good insulation in the floors. What do I mean by that? We have 12 inches of insulation in our walls, mineral wool, 12 inches. Builders here will know it doesn't matter whether, it really is not a lot of extra cost actually to put 6 inches in or 12 inches. It's just, you just have a bigger cavity. So you might as well put it in. Obviously for a new house we can put it under the floor. We have insulation under our floor, and that's what we have under our floor, 12 inches. Now this is called styrofoam. That's 98% air. There's only 2% material in that. And we have that, and we have a concrete base on top of that, and we walk on it. So that's under the floor. So that's what I mean by insulation, and this is very cheap to buy. This is not expensive. Very difficult to retrofit. And in a new house, very easy to put in. So all of these, won't bother with all the figures and things, basically generally trying to get twice as good as the building regulations, which is not difficult to do. The key one we're going to come to in a moment is the air tightness. But the second principle is no thermal bridging. What do I mean by thermal bridging? So this wall to the other wall outside. The outside wall is going to be cold, this is going to be warm. We have to link those two walls together with wall ties. And generally use metal wall ties. We don't use metal, we use ceramic rods. So there's no heat transfer from the inside to the outside. So basically we make sure there's no thermal bridging between the inside and the outside. And then we have this thing called air tightness, and this is very critical. So we will put in barriers to the air, so that we basically have draft-free windows. We don't have a letterbox actually. We have a letterbox outside the door because you get too much gap around the letterbox. So we need to achieve this very high level of air tightness called 0.6 air changes. Okay, building regulations at the moment I think are 10 air changes. So we've got 0.6. This is quite critical as the third principle. The next principle is called ventilation. So having made the house airtight, if we're not going to sort of suffocate, we introduce air to the house, but as we bring the air in, we warm it with the air going out. So we basically take the heat from the air going out and we transfer it to the air coming in. We also filter the air coming in, and we do this on a 24-hour basis. It's running at low level for 24 hours a day. We have 30 cubic meters of fresh air per person per hour into the house. We don't have any condensation anywhere. So for example, in our little shower room upstairs, we will shower in the morning. We have a towel rail, but it's not heated. We put the towels on there. By 5 o'clock in the evening the towels are dry because of the air movement. So it's really, really good. Really, really works. And then the last one is the use of solar energy. So in the summer we shelter the sun so we don't overheat the house, and in the winter we use special glass so that we can maximise the air intake. The heat intake. So these are the 5 principles really: the thermal insulation, the passive house windows with the solar gain, the heat recovery, the air tightness, and the no thermal bridging. And that's really all you need to create a house that doesn't need heating. The key to it is this system here, where, as I said, we're extracting air from the bathrooms, from the kitchens, and we pass that air across the air coming in to heat the air coming in. So last winter, when it was 0 degrees outside, I bring the air in at 0 degrees, and by the time it's gone through my system, which I've probably got a picture of here, this is my system, by the time the air's gone through there, and heated by the air going out, it's coming into the rooms at 19 degrees. And I'm not adding any heat. Okay, my boiler for the whole house is this big, and that's just because Pauline likes to have lots of hot baths, so we've got a big hot water cylinder. So we have no real heating costs at all. And it's a 4-bedroom house.
How long do your filters last?
3 months. 3 months.
How expensive?
£10, £15, not too bad.
No.
And you could brush them out if you wanted to, we just change them, but I mean, and you'd be surprised actually, I think I showed some people the filter, even in the country here, you get quite a lot of muck.
Yeah.
So this is quite good. Now, I'm not going to go through too much with that, but if you want to actually have a certified passive house, you need to satisfy these requirements of these. Now, these are approximately 10% of the heating load of a standard house. So you just have to demonstrate that you can actually do all these things, and then you will get your certificate. Okay? The reason we went for being certified as opposed to just asking the builder to build it is because you know, you have to really watch the builders. I mean, builders are not used to this sort of level of detail. Okay, let's have a look at the principle of this now. So here's a leaky house. I used to live in a leaky house, and if we look at the heat requirements against the heat losses, now we start with the heat losses. So in the cold weather you've got losses through the wall, the roof, the floor, the windows, etc. Drafts, okay? So that's the heat losses. To balance that, we've got to put energy in. Now, all houses will have solar, and they're identical. All houses will have some internal heating, bodies, cooking. Okay? And basically, you're just trying to make the difference up, and that is the difference. So in a modern house, if you live in a modern house, that's the difference, and that's our house. So you can see, basically, all you're saying is, we just don't need to make up that heat loss, because we don't have any heat loss from the house. So how do we do this? What are the principles? So here, for example, is the wall construction. So here are those ceramic rods which bind the two walls, and there's our 12 inches of insulation in the wall. And here's another picture of it in construction. I'm going to go through quite quickly. There are areas where you have, this wall is part of an internal wall of a passive house, and that's the garage. I didn't make the garage passive. So that wall is a cold wall, and that wall is a warm wall. So where you have a cold wall and a warm wall, we use this, which is basically a glass block. This is pulverized glass, and this is very high strength and very high insulation. So we basically put lines of that across there to separate the warm wall from the cold wall. And you'll notice we don't put any vertical mortar joints in either, because there will be a thermal conductivity path. Okay. Another point when we're constructing this is this ceiling here. If this was our lounge, that was an external wall. Normally the builder would be putting the beams supporting on the wall. But you're actually then penetrating the wall and potentially having a leak path into the cavity. So we don't do that. We bolt the wall. We put a plate. We bolt a plate on. So basically, it's completely sealed inside. So that's basically the floor of the upper floor, and we bolt it on. When you go upstairs now, if this was the bedroom, we've got an attic above that. And we want to put lights up, and we're going to go through, and we want to put various bits up and we have a lot of other things in our house on the ceiling, and that would be an air path into the loft space. So what we've done here is, on our first ceiling here, we've completely sealed the whole of the loft space, taped it, and made it airtight. And then you'll see what we've done later is we suspend the ceiling below that, which is the ceiling you see in the room. So we can put any lights we want in then without breaching the air tightness. In addition, you won't see, when you go around our house, you won't see any soil pipes that normally run down a house on the outside, because those soil pipes have to go through the wall and you get air leakage. So we run them inside, and then we cover them over, put some sound insulation in, etc. And around the windows we make sure we've got complete air tightness around the windows. So these are just attention to detail. Now we've got a gas fire, a sort of feature gas fire, which I may have a picture of later. And we've got a flue that goes up. Now gas fires require air, and a lot of houses have an air vent in the wall. You know, you're trying to keep your house warm and you've got air vents. So we don't have an air vent. So this pipe going up is actually two pipes. There's an inner pipe and an outer pipe, and we draw the cold air down through the annulus into the fire, which has a glass front, and then the flue gases go up the centre. And where it passes through the ceiling, we seal it, and where it comes out through the loft, we seal it up onto the roof. So we've got basically a fire, but we don't have any air being sucked into the building. So this is now the floor that I described to you. This is actually the floor. You can see that what you're seeing here is 8 inches here, and you see the final 4 inches going on top. And then we put on top of that 4 inches of concrete. Now this is the ceiling in the sort of lounge area. You can see we do have a lot of pipes and a lot of cables. Some of these cables you wouldn't normally have. We put home automation in, so we've got a few more cables, but these basically are just the air pipes. But we also insulate all the other various pipes. Now this is the upstairs. You remember we said we basically sealed the ceiling, and then we can run all our pipes and cables in, and then we can just put a full ceiling underneath, which makes it pretty neat. Even the cables that go up to the TV aerial on the roof, we seal as it goes through. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, why do we do all that? Well, air tightness is absolutely critical. An equivalent, if you were to have, if our house, as you see up the road, had a 3/1000 of an inch gap, crack all the way round, we wouldn't meet the air requirements. It's that critical. That's why we can't have a letterbox. This is the loft with 800 millimetres of insulation. And this is the, I mentioned to you, this is the MVHR, Mechanical Ventilation System, and this is actually how it was installed, but then we put a ceiling across, so we cover all this up. So a lot of the pipework's covered up. If you come to the house, you'll see my plant room, which is quite pretty actually, isn't it, Steve? You know, we've got all the pipes, and I'll take you through everything and show you how it works. Now let's look quickly at this. The government has said that by 2050 it's going to reduce greenhouse gases by 80%. 45% of emissions come from buildings. By 2050 there's going to be 23% more households. It's only by more efficient housing, this is a massive figure, 45%. The only way the government can meet their requirements is to start to introduce passive houses, to reduce the heating of houses by 90%. So a typical house requires 130, don't worry what they are, kilowatt hours per metre squared, and a passive house is 15 at the most. So what you're doing effectively is saying a passive house will reduce the heating requirement by 90%. So, what about passive houses? Well, it's not just houses. There's a place in Germany that's certified passive house. Okay, a whole office block. There's another one, really smart. That is also a passive house. That's going to be down in Exeter. Exeter City Council are adopting passive house. I don't know why Sedgemoor aren't, but anyway. So you'll see that now, and they're going to save £250,000 a year on the running costs of that leisure centre in Exeter, which I think is only this year, I think, just because they've designed it as a passive house. So they're reusing all the heat from the bodies in there. Very clever. Here's a social housing at Lambeth, and those three are passive house, no heating requirements. In fact, a lot of the social houses are not actually installing heating at all. Now we've put underfloor heating in, but a lot of them don't even bother to put the radiators in. You just don't need to put any heating in at all. Think about that. No heating at all. And it still works. Okay. Here's Norwich Council. Norwich Council, this is in the last couple of weeks. They're building 112 passive houses in their social housing programme. Those are them going up. Sedgemoor don't even know what's going on. It seems to me.
This is true.
Okay.
This is, well, we say, yeah.
But you know, what the point I wanted to make is that when you come up to see ours, you see everything that you need to see about passive house, and you feel it, and you walk in, it's warm everywhere, at no cost. And it really is ideal for these, because they probably haven't got any radiators in at all, they don't need them. But there's a more upmarket one, that's in Camden. Okay. And here is the Isle of Wight. There's 28 affordable homes in the Isle of Wight, built to the scheme, and each house is going to save £900 a year on their heating costs. Okay. Now, one of the questions was, I think, is it more expensive? If it was prohibitively expensive, you wouldn't be able to build 28 of these. Yes, they've worked it out. Now, why aren't the developers building these? Well, unless we push them to build it, they're not going to do it, because there is a slight increase, maybe 3 to 7% increase in cost for the initial cost of the building. So who's up to speed? I just did a random selection here. All of these places, you cannot build in these places unless it's passive. Okay? You cannot build. Germany's really up to speed. So any builder building a house in these areas, and here we've got now Exeter, Norwich, Bath and North East Somerset. This is their document with passive house in it. So I pulled that off the web.
Bristol.
Okay, Isle of Wight, Kirklees, Great Yarmouth, and more and more and more. And I'd love to do this presentation, a full presentation to Sedgemoor, because they should get on the bandwagon. They should be doing that.
All you've got to do is write to the chief executive and ask if you can do a presentation.
Yeah,
We can do it.
well,
I mean, I'm not on it now,
No.
but we used to enjoy having it. All these new modern ideas.
I have written to one of the councillors.
Well, it's no good to deal with the council, you've
Yeah.
got to the chief executive.
Let's look at the future. What do I think the future is? Somebody asked me the other day, what do you think the future is? Well, actually, I think the future is passive, but factory-built modular homes, energy saving standard, cheaper overall construction. Because, you know, we have to talk about prefabricated houses. Remember those?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not talking about those.
No, no.
Okay? I'm talking about these. These are factory-built, prefabricated, passive, no heating houses. Okay, I picked 4. They look quite nice. And there's another 4. Choose your design. So, you know, it's there. Now, I want to touch, I've only got 15 minutes, so I want to touch quickly on planning, if I may, because we went through quite an interesting planning situation when we came here, and I actually, you know, it's quite natural that villagers get very concerned about planning and everything like that. And we were not immune from that, because this is a view of what we knocked down. This was the bungalow that was on the site where we are. And we said it would look like that, because that is a computer image. It's not an artistic impression, it's a digital computer image. It's very accurate. And the beauty of these digital images is that you can view it from any vantage point you want. So if the neighbour said, what's it going to look like, you could pick that as the viewpoint and see how it's going to look. We should get into the digital age. We did that. Unfortunately, somebody thought it would look like that, which kind of spooked the council. You know, just what that happens. And what are you guys going to do? You know, who do you believe? In actual fact, that is how it is, which I don't think is too far off this one. Okay. So what I wanted to show you now was these houses. Now, if you saw those houses, you would know what they're going to look like, wouldn't you, in your village or whatever? Yeah? Those photographs, they're not photographs. They're not real houses. Those are computer images. That's how accurate this can be. And we should be asking the developers, even a one-off house, we shouldn't just be saying, where's the plans? We should be saying, show us the not the visualization, the digital. Show us the digital. How does it look? And here, for the developers, we should be saying, show us how you're going to fly through this village. Show us what it would look like in our village. The houses you want to put up on the road, the 50 houses, how are they going to look? So here you can see all those houses have been put together. This is all digital, there's nothing real in this at all, except that it's wholly accurate. And now you can see what it's going to look like up the road here when they build, how's it going to look and do we like it? And the villagers can also see what's going to be put up. Why Sedgemoor do not say to the developers, we won't even consider your plans unless you show us this. This is 10 years old. This is not new. This is 10 years old. And the one I showed you, I did myself. It's very cheap to do these. And the developers can do them. I mean, you saw that was...
They probably don't want to because there's too much information.
Yes, exactly. But we need the information. We need the information. It's only a couple of seconds more. But isn't that impressive? Wouldn't that really...
Makes such a difference to
Simple plans.
just looking at this piece on a page one, which really doesn't change.
People, the piece of paper are no good. You need to... You drive up now towards the school, and let's see how those houses would look as they come in and everything else, and that can be done. So this was one done by, well, this is the Barrett one, I think, or something. But the point I'm making is that's well old technology. So coming back to my first slide, I asked the question, can we afford to keep wasting our energy resources? And my answer is no. I think the time is to up our game and build to the passive house standard. That's my suggestion. So I think that's it. Thank you. Was that 15 minutes or was that longer?
Very good.
Very interesting.
Thank you very much. Very
Okay, now,
informative.
Please, if you circulate those, please give me a call. If you want to come and see the house, drop me a line, give us a phone call, drop us an email. Come around, have a coffee, or walk you around, show you the bits and pieces, answer any questions, and you know.
I think the main thing is that it doesn't cost that much more than ordinary building, and it saves so much in the end. Am I right?
Absolutely right.
Would it be nice
Absolutely
if
right.
in affordable housing we're going to have a bit more, we could build to that standard.
Definitely.
But how can we do it? We can't. It's
Well, if you're gonna, you know, if I can help, but
like five bloody...
so I mean, you can see I've shown you a number of places in the country that are building affordable houses, so it can be done, and it should be done.
I think that's very inspiring. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
it
you
is
for coming and telling
inspiring.
us what
We
can be
should aim,
achieved.
and we should aim to
Yeah.
go
should.
towards passive
We
housing.
should
Really.
be
We should be saying
telling
no
Sedgemoor
to
that's what
anything
we're
we can't
doing.
afford, that's expensive.
not letting them rule us, we should be telling them, that's what they're doing.
Globalism, was it called?
Well, all I've really done, I wrote to, I think last summer, I wrote, Tessa Monk came round to the house to have a look, because I did a little presentation to Green Wedmore. And she came round, so I went through everything with her, and she said she was pretty inspired by it. So I actually then wrote to her and said, if I can help Sedgemoor, particularly liaise with Exeter, and educate Sedgemoor a bit and get them on the track, I would, and I haven't had a reply, so, but anyway, the offer's there, so.
No.
Yeah, that's where you got to go to Sedgemoor, okay.
Yes, you
You've got to write to
Well, how can you
Sedgemoor.
argue with it? When you see,
You
No,
can't
that's-
argue
you
with
can't
it.
argue with it, can you?
No,
But
I'd
it's
like to see-
the
You're right,
builders
you're right.
who
You
presented
yeah.
very well. You presented very well.
Yeah, yeah.
Chief
And it's a
That's
no-brainer.
no when you
Yeah.
can
It
write.
is a no-brainer. What are we doing? The planet's
I
warming
know.
up. Why are we not doing this? You know, it's ridiculous.
Okay, I'll get out of your hair.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, don't you,
See you
do
next
you
month.
want to take your insulation?
Take a break.
Yeah, I'll take everything out of the packet.
Do you want to
Do
carry on?
you want to turn this machine off?
I think that's fine, that's all
Yeah.
right.
Great. Thank you. Right, moving on. Item 9 on the agenda, to approve the amenity grants to the village hall.
Yes, an annual payment was made to the village hall's chairman, normally £500 each village hall, I think including Wedmore actually.
We've had it, haven't we?
No, you haven't, I
I
looked
think
at
you must have paid that by now, yeah.
Yeah, I think they did,
I
because
think it paid off the
It's
chairs.
paid,
Yeah.
we paid the chairs, we had a lot
Yes,
of donations to chairs, we've offset it pretty
Yeah,
well,
but
so.
the rate seating, no, the
Yeah.
chairs.
The racing,
See, yeah.
Rate
we
seating.
had a lot of
Yes.
donations for
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's £500 each village hall.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
If everybody's, when you the proposition.
Yes, I'll,
Yes,
yes, I'll second that.
Thank you. Thank you, so I'll put it on a second. £500, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, item 10, to consider suitable street names for Cross Farm development.
We don't know how many, do we?
2 we were required, I think, from Harry, from Acorn. Glenys, perhaps you might like to take up the first.
That's my favourite. I don't know, I can't even remember what I wrote down. Old Ben Pole Way. What? Old Ben Pole Way. Ben Pool Way.
Pool.
Liverpool Way.
Old Ben Pool Way. And I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
What was the other one?
So, for anyone that doesn't know, Benpool is the name of the field that
Yeah.
Is it on the leaf?
where Cross
It
Farm
is.
development
I'll try and find it.
is. So that was what the ground was known as.
There's something about a mill as well.
I've had Pilmead Mill
Pilmead Mill.
and a Mill Leet from Alison Crooks.
And if you recall Councillor Isgar's suggestion of something regarding Hazel Hudson as well, so maybe Hudson.
And somebody else suggested Josh Butler as well,
Yeah.
Butler Drive or...
Oh, yeah.
Well, we do have other, I'm sure that we'll have other opportunities with the other developments, certainly with what's going on at the Strongbox.
No,
So,
that's where you were.
firstly, Ben,
It was Old Ben Pole Way.
Wasn't it?
One was Old Ben Pole Way, and then Alison came, Ben Pool. Then Alison came up with something about the mill, didn't she?
Pilmead Mill and Mill Leet.
Where's that?
Oh, I thought some good ones. Where are they, Sue? I can't
I
remember what
don't
they
know,
were
I
now.
can't find it. That was it, Alison that said
so we're
it.
discounting Ellis Avenue then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can a close second?
Alison Crooks, wasn't it?
That's fine, Lloyd. I like mine.
Yeah, I like it.
Actually,
I
I can't find it.
I'd like a proposal on the first. I'd like a proposal on the
Yeah.
first one,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, I'd like to get
Yes,
that.
I think
yeah,
it's support
lovely.
the first one.
Yeah.
That's the name of the
Wish I remembered what I'd written.
Old Benpool Way.
Old Benpole Way, that was what it
Pool.
was.
It's pool, isn't it?
Benpool, yeah.
And everyone's going to say, where's the
Hang on.
As in Cecil.
It's been filled in at the moment.
Oakfield Drive, Hudson Way, Crossways Drive, Old Benpool Way. Well, I think Old Benpool Way, we've done that.
We've
Yeah,
just
yeah,
done
that
that,
one. And that was the other three, Oakfield Drive, Hudson Way or Crossways Drive.
I did speak to Hazel Hudson. She came into the shop and I asked her how she'd feel about if we used her name in the roads, and she was very happy about it.
Touched.
Well, I still say we should have Mr. Butler, Joss Butler Drive, because we don't have hardly any sports things in this village, and he comes regularly to the tennis club.
When did you suggest that?
William did it last meeting when he brought me in here.
Just done it tonight.
Yeah, because he says he's captain England in one-day cricket, he's vice-captain of both the test and the one-day cricket, and nobody else in this village has ever done that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's how he looked at it. He said, because we don't do, he's often up there with the cricket club. He comes there whenever he's free, he goes up to see the cricket club.
Just a
Yeah, I know, I've been
just a
to
Butler
see
Drive.
them.
Yeah, that's what he said, Butler Drive, because that's his best stroke,
Yeah, I
the
think
cricket
Joss
pitch.
Butler drives a bit.
Yeah.
It's a double
Yeah.
T, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's what William thought about, and he's spoken to several sports people up there.
As I said, I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to
Two
name
more
or.
developments as well.
Yeah.
So there's other developments, aren't there? So I'm sure we'll. Well, yeah, that's
Well,
right.
wouldn't it be more appropriate for the Butler Drive to go up the one up
By the sports
by
club.
the sports
Yeah.
field?
Yeah.
That would be more appropriate.
Yeah, I think you're right actually, by the sports field.
Yeah, I
More of
think
a link, yeah.
Yes.
than it is this one. It's a bit.
What about Hudson Drive?
Yes, I mean.
Hudson Way.
Does she have, yeah, well, if we're going to have Old Benpool Way, you don't want another way, do you? So we could put Hudson Drive.
Drive is a bit of a no through road, isn't it?
Well, it is a no
It is, isn't it?
They are no
Hudson
fruit.
Close.
They are no.
Hudson's Close.
Yes, that sounds classy,
That's
doesn't it?
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Might live in there.
Yeah, like that.
I'm living there.
But isn't it,
Afford that'd be a pay rise.
There will be classes.
Because you can't drive through those roads.
No, you
You've
can't.
got to come out.
Ah,
because They are.
Hudson Close.
So, proposal?
Yeah.
Sue Worrell. Glynis?
Yes.
And then can we make a note of our
Joss.
other proposals
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
For future.
Yeah.
when we speak to
Easter.
Strongbox again,
Yeah.
we'll
I quite
make
like
sure.
the fallen and the first water in the village.
Yeah.
Yes, I like
Yeah.
that. Listen,
Yes.
Nice idea.
I thought that was
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
She thought it might be a nice idea to maybe use the names of some of the
Mind you, there are so many.
the
There are.
medicines
Oh,
and
oh,
all
Paul and
that.
Ned,
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
you
what
could,
you said,
you
yeah.
could put them all in a hat and just pull one out, couldn't you?
Yes.
And whoever it was, it was.
Would be fair enough. Would be fair.
Yes, good idea.
Upset somebody.
Yeah, you could.
Anyway, that was
You
Right,
could do
that's
it
it.
at
Off we go
the
to the next
assembly,
Well done.
you know, at an assembly.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
Like the unknown warrior. You don't know who
Yes.
he was.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we all in agreement? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah? Great. Okay. Thank you. I thought it might have been a bit longer, but that's great. Right. Item 11. Do you consider? Sorry.
I said, you ain't got full council.
Well,
This is me.
to consider contributing to highway improvement at Coombe Lane. Judy.
Right, I've got some pictures here, if you'd like to look at the state of the lane at the moment. Very potholy from the drive, from the...
Can you put them up there? Could you put them up there?
Oh,
So
I
we can
don't-
see
I
exactly
don't-
how it's going to
How
look.
is that? I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to plug it in and get it up there. Huh? Does anybody know?
We're deferring to another meeting.
Anyway, that's the state of the drive from the Scout Hut north. Okay, pretty good.
Yes.
From the Scout Hut south, I'm afraid things get a lot worse. Okay.
from Coombe round down the Scout Hut, it's pretty.
It's pretty bad, it's pretty shocking. Now, having talked to pretty much everybody,
Like Tucker chucks a shovel full of concrete into a hole occasionally, doesn't he?
well, yes, he does. It seems to me the problem is speeding vehicles down to the Scout Hut, which is making the problem a lot worse. I've had several complaints about speeding down there.
How they do it?
Well,
There's
Should be
they do.
4x4.
They do it, and it's what's causing the damage, and especially pulling out into the main road, spinning their wheels and charging out. They're also passing when it's a single track drive, you know, making it wider. There's implications of safety because, you know, it's only going to be used more as there's a playground down there and there's children potentially walking up and down. So, suggestions were to ask Dave Tucker to give us a quote for doing some improvements to the drive as he thinks fit, and maybe putting a speed bump in the middle, okay, to slow people down, and also some signage saying 10 miles an hour, please drive slowly, because of the safety issues. Yeah, so what does everybody think
Dave,
about that?
have you approached Dave?
I've spoken to
What
Dave.
was his thoughts?
Well, he says that he'd be quite happy to do some work for us. He thinks, actually, Rod, he did say some tarmac. He said a load of tarmac, and he would then tarmac sort of the entrance into the lane properly, and then use the rest of all the holes.
In fairness, you need the tarmac on a splay coming off the
Yes,
main carriageway
that-
anyway. And,
That was his idea, and he said he'll get some prices from Rousel. He said they're often got bits of tarmac left over, and it could be used, and there would be no charge for labour because he put his labour in, and we'd all go and help as well. So it's just the cost of the tarmac, really, the cost of the
Marvellous.
probably a load of road
He's
road
doing so
planings
bad
as
now.
well would come in, wouldn't it? Road planings down.
Yeah, and if there was a pile of, like you say, planings, then we could fill the potholes as they come in. So you know, I think as a one-off, if the parish council would see its way to accommodating this, because the parish council hasn't actually contributed towards the upkeep of Coombe Lane since the year 2000, so I think it might be fair that they do now.
I think it's only fair.
And if we can get it up together, and then we can, I think all the members of Coombe Lane, the people who live in Coombe Lane, would just like to see some kind of regular, ongoing maintenance, but as on an ad hoc basis, just as it's needed, you know, and we're quite happy to
I think
do
the
the work.
signage is important.
I do, because I think people don't perhaps realise that this is a private lane that is being upkept at the expense of the people that live there. So, yeah, and
There's a lot of users down that line.
Yes,
It's
there
not
are.
fair on them, is it?
yeah, and I thought I might have a word with the Scoutmaster and say, could every now and again you give a little note out saying, please could you drive carefully down the
He's
lane?
going to our facility owned by the parish council really, so.
Chairman, we've got a riparian ownership with the land that we own down that lane, so that would be, as opposed to Manor Lane, which is another unadopted road, which
Yes.
the parish council got no responsibility for, so it's slightly different, I think. So,
Well, it is, because, you know, it's people going to a parish council owned
yeah, the
facility that
allotments on the Scout Hut, yeah.
and they are 80% of the traffic going down there, really.
So I don't think Manor Close, Manor and Lane will have any grounds for complaining to the parish. I'm just trying to think.
Yes, I know, I can see what
Well,
you're
you
saying.
know, it's the Scout Hut
And
and
it's
the
much
allotments.
smaller, it's not much shorter.
Everyone gets the point, yeah.
You're not missing hearing much
Don't
disagreement
get
with this,
any
Mr Chairman, but I make a proposal. Subject to cost being
Subject
acceptable,
to costs, yeah.
And I'll second it.
that we
Thank you.
do some essential maintenance
Yeah,
now, to make
absolutely.
it safer and more convenient.
Residents of Coombe Lane will be delighted, thank you.
Can we
At last.
hopefully get a quote in from Dave Tucker for the next
I
one?
went and saw him, I saw him at the beginning of the week, so I'll pop
Just
in,
need rough
I'll
costing.
pop in and see him in a week or so and see what he says. Yeah.
Great,
Okay.
thank you, Judy.
Good, Jim.
Okay. Right, item 12. Sue, to consider fence panel repair removal at the car park.
I need your drawing, it's wonderful.
They're not very good at things like that, but it was, I think you all got the email, yeah?
Yes, we've also-
I didn't quite understand it, Sue.
Well, that's
which,
not surprised,
which is the bit,
because it was a bit,
As you're going through the barrier, coming
Yeah.
from Worthington Close, go through into the car park, and it's the area to your right hand side. if we get to the wooden gate going out to the,
Yeah, but looking at the photo,
Yeah, just hang on, I'm just getting this one.
it's backing onto the bungalows.
There's two bungalows in Baxham.
Oh, it's not playing ball with me today.
Alright, I've got it here.
Have you got it?
I've got it here somewhere. You only sent it.
Should be for dinner.
I sent it on Monday or Tuesday.
I got it.
Monday, I think.
Right, yeah, here we are. So I don't, this is the problem bit, is it? Between there and there?
If you got the drawings,
Yeah.
right, with the drawings, oh,
Don't make it bigger.
can we get this off?
No, I can't, no.
Yeah, there is a way.
Well, I don't know how.
No, it's there, don't worry, surely. Anyway, yeah, oh, it's gone again. I'm not having much luck with this, am I?
When's our Angela Vivian in the one?
It's all gone again.
Oh, come here, let's do
Did you
this.
say you had a solution?
Of
Yes,
sorts.
That's what we need.
well,
What
did
did
you
you
do?
Well,
right,
it'll tie into a,
Don't touch it, Sue.
this, that's the barrier going
Yeah.
from Worthington Close. And there's the hedge now, it's a hedge, it's all been cut down, so it's a hedge. You've got their mesh fence that runs along their back. And on this side, you've got, right up to that mesh fence, is a wooden fence. And you can hardly get to it behind this hedge. Then you come to the back and it goes like that. Then this panel here is broken, there, and then it comes out and the fence runs along here. Now 2 of the panels along this edge are falling apart. And what you've got here, these are the stumps that they cut out and they've drilled into them. I did have a look, they've got the drill holes, so they've killed those. So that means, but you've still got all the brambles, so you've still got no man's land that you can't get to. Because this is a hedge in front of it.
Well, it doesn't need 3, that needs to come out,
This needs
doesn't
to
it?
come off.
Yeah.
And my suggestion would be to obviously repair that panel there and then take this down and just carry it on to the end.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, because then the people, what they're getting is, they're getting all the briars and brambles going through their mesh fence from our no man's land. It's not so bad on this one because the 2 fences are up against each other. But on this one, for some unknown reason,
Well, it's probably there's trees in the way at the time.
and they didn't go
And they didn't want to
So
do
they went round
putting them
it,
down.
yeah, instead of...
So just take this fence down and carry it on along there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think you sort it.
Needs to run along the mesh fence,
It
doesn't
needs
it?
to run along the mesh fence.
We had a load of grief chairman yesterday, Dad.
Oh,
From one of the residents.
Oh, and
who was-
Mrs Nesbitt.
No, next door.
Oh,
Who's got an
Barbara.
even nicer garden. And who said that she's now being overlooked by 4x4s parked in the car park because the car park is higher than their garden.
Yeah, but they're not
Because
sat
now they
there.
cut the trees down.
They're not sat there watching her all day.
This is
They're
what she
parking
told
their
us
car
yesterday
around.
afternoon.
Well, I'll go and have a word with her. Barbara.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, next door.
Well, whatever we do, it won't be going in any higher for subject to her
She wanted
suggestion.
higher-
She wants
higher
an 8-foot
panels.
fence running through there. Well, that won't be happening.
No.
Well, that's how it all started in the first place. They
Yeah.
wanted privacy there, and we put the trees there. And that's how it all started. And we said at the time it was going for trouble, didn't we, Mike?
Yeah.
We said we're heading for trouble. We should leave it all tied to the wire fence.
Yeah.
But they've
Well,
got
I
a
think-
perfectly good chain link fence along
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
And then we got our side, we got these wooden panels which are falling apart.
Yeah.
So if you rip those out,
Not all of them. I think at this
Right.
end, they're all right. But I think it's from about here onwards, they start to...
I think once you start messing with them, they'll just
Will
deteriorate.
they?
Yeah.
They
We
will.
use the whole lot.
Well, you can't do the ones round the corner because you really can't get in there.
No, we won't.
Because the foliage is bang up against them. and it's thick, much thicker than it is here. So that was my suggestion.
Well, following Rod and my visit down to the car park,
Totally unrelated to this.
it is unrelated, funnily enough. Our meeting was with a rep from Blue Cedar Housing, that they would like to run a sewer or connect to the main sewer across the footpath where the lights that we installed 18 months ago. So they want to go across Mr. and Mrs. Gillibrand's garden and then tap into the sewer across our footpath. So as part of, in principle, we've agreed that we don't see a problem from the parish council's point of view of coming across the footpath, and as a gesture of a payment, they've offered to do either some landscaping or a payment or whatever we suggest really for our bit. I think the problem that they'll have is going across Gillibrand's land, but that's a separate issue. I'm not going to go through that on tape because that doesn't involve us at the moment, but so we could tie in some additional works with the car park via the developer.
Good idea.
So with that, I'd like to probably, we've been going on about the signage and stuff that we need to do. So I think we could wrap it up in a little package that could be undertaken by those guys as a as a gesture of goodwill. We'll negotiate that, and anyone that wants to get involved in that, more than happy to come on board. But as I say, it was the first time we met this representative from Blue Cedar. It's not run from their Exeter office anymore. It's another Bristol office that.
Well, they're Cedar Blue now, aren't they?
Well, not, but anyway, that's by the by. But so this guy seems quite amenable, but I still think they've got a challenge on their hand with what they want to do. But so that was my idea to try and we can try and pretty it up a little bit with regard to getting stuff sorted. So.
But I think what the residents are after them is some higher fencing put up.
We will only put back in like for like, and that'll be what we'll do. So and I'll be quite strict with what we do on that. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thoroughly agree that we shouldn't be putting up more fences. They've got the chain link fence.
Central housing, you put
two
something on their
fences
side of the fence, can't they?
Yeah.
That's what it should be really. We only done it as a good gesture
Just,
at
yeah.
the time, but 9 years down the lane, it's sort of
And once that hedge starts to thicken up a little bit, it'll be fine, won't it? So we keep on top of that.
then it wants to be made into a hedge rather than bushes.
Well, really, yeah.
Do you want to leave us some bows until we sort out what Blue's in?
Yeah,
so they're going to come back to us and then we can...
No, it's not desperate.
I think we just need to tell these people what's happening.
Yeah.
We did tell them this, it's under discussion at the moment. So.
if there's a health and safety risk, or if there's imminent danger that they're going to blow away or whatever, we'll deal with it. But
one of them's particularly, isn't it? At the end, it's sort of twisted like that. I think even we should just take that away and take it down.
I'll get Will to move it.
If you could just
strictly that one though.
Yeah, just take the one that's falling over away.
Right. Okay, and we'll look at that over the next 6 weeks or whatever they're going to respond to us. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sue. Right, number 13. Consider costings for heating upgrade at the council rooms, i.e. here.
I think we know the answer now. We turn it into a passive council.
Would it be great?
We don't need any heating at all.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Just knock it down, we're going to bring it in.
Knock it down.
9 minutes.
Well,
I need 2 other people here and the television on.
it was certainly running through my mind when Dennis was speaking, but so I've had a local guy, electrician in to look at trying to make it a little bit more efficient in here. We've had a quote in to replace the existing heating with low energy radiators. You see, get the low energy bit, and replace the water heater in the kitchen. The heating will be, or can be, Wi-Fi enabled, so it can be controlled by a smartphone. So rather than timers and Rob coming in, and I'd like to, as part of the grand scheme of things, I'd like to make this building a bit more accessible to everyone else within the community. Because I think it's an ideal size for some of the groups that we've got in the village, and just I think it's an ideal meeting place for the wider community.
Yeah, I mean, we've used it as the neighbourhood plan.
And the fact that
And it's perfect.
the community pays for the building, I think we should make it a bit more accessible, hence why we want to do the external bits and you know, just make it say more accessible to all really. So the Wi-Fi enabled system is £2,900 and the non-Wi-Fi is £2,580. Say it's an app. I've got a big instruction brochure that anyone can have a look at. Everyone can have the app on their phone if they needed it. So anyone can control it.
A lot of times,
So whoever is a member,
We've got this technology.
it's great.
Use it.
They're also from this, and I'll probably come into it more with regard to Rod's appraisal. One thing or another, when the camera's switched off, is potentially we've got asbestos in the building with regard to the heating. There's a couple of old storage heaters that are here. So leading on from that, we're going to have to get an asbestos survey done of the building. I'm acutely aware that everyone meets here, but it's actually Rod's workplace. And as a public building, we have a duty of care. So that's something that I'm working on at the moment anyway. So we'll feed into that with Rod's appraisal anyway. But that's it for the heating. We are waiting another quote to come in, and then we'll make a decision. But that's where we are with those bits really. Okay. So we'll defer. Once we get the quote in, we'll size up either or, and we'll go from there. Okay. Because I just think it's so inefficient. This building.
We need two quotes really.
We need to.
It's £2,500.
It's it's a sizable lump. We need to make sure that.
Is that from Chris Norman?
No, it'll be from Mason, Charles Mason, who did the actual work of the television.
Okay. So that's, we'll wait on the secondary quote and then we'll go from there. So.
Still wait for him actually.
Right. Item 14. Receive an update from the neighbour plan.
Well, we're having a meeting on Monday to go through the
inspectors' comments.
So
There's a bit of a fly in the ointment because Duncan Harvey suggested we have a lettings policy. I thought that was a good idea, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's thrown a lot of people with curved balls coming in because I don't think they read it all thoroughly. They seem to think we were just restricting it just to have more people, but it's a tiered thing. Which anyway, we
had to explain.
We've got to go through these inspector responses on Monday.
I'd like to make it if I can.
And then we can get back and decide whether there's any small changes that need to be made. But they're fairly, the girl, Emma at Sedgemoor's, reasonably confident that we can get enough done for it to go ahead as planned for the May referendum.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Crux of it I got from the emails. Okay.
So we're nearly there.
We're nearly there.
Yeah, it is. Yes. It's great.
I wish he did come and talk to us 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I really do.
Definitely. Okay, item 15. Issues and questions raised by councillors. Yes?
No, I don't think.
Mike? No. Suzanne?
Yes, something done about the training for the speed indicators the speed indicators that we want to have.
There hasn't, as yet. We were waiting on. Have we got all the information now for the speed indicators?
Well, we've got enough information. It's really down to before we can decide where we want them and install them. We've got to go through this blessed training. That's the only thing. And there's two of you
currently.
Well done.
We were thinking about a third.
Right.
So we'll get some dates for the
Yeah.
training company
I think,
and go for it.
Yes, but we talked about this so many months ago.
We did, yeah.
And
Yeah.
nothing seems to have happened. And I just think, you know, can we not really settle it tonight? As to who's going?
Well, I put my name forward.
Judy and Neil were the two that were going.
Judy put her name forward.
Judy?
Yeah.
And I did send some, I got 2 training organisations mapped out and did send the dates when, I think those dates
I
have gone.
can, yeah, I can make
I think it's
it.
down to you and Judy to decide when you want to do it, really.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I think we need a third as well.
Finding a volunteer.
Well, I was quite-
Don't have to be a councillor.
No.
Just find a good volunteer, you know, somebody local.
If we can get a volunteer,
Well,
I
I'm
don't
sure
know who else
Dennis
would.
might, yeah, I might ask Dennis. Oh, Dennis.
Well, it's just somebody who's going to
Yeah.
help put these blessed things up.
Yeah.
Mm. And I think we then decide how long they're up for, really, you know. There's no...
There's nothing written in stone with it. I was sort of just concerned it would be another councillor with not knowing who's going to step down and who's going to stay on and what really was going to happen with people's status on the council. So unless
I mean, there's people who live up Coombe Batch, for example, who feel quite strongly about the speeding that comes up and down there. Sure, one of them would be only too happy to stick the living thing up occasionally.
But have the people
You've got to have training to do it.
do the training, they've got to be the ones to put it up.
No. People are trained. We need to train some people to put it up.
They
have
only-
the training.
But some of the council people, well, some of us have got to go to be
Yeah,
trained,
yeah.
to train them.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, you're going to be trained. The volunteers are going to be trained to put these signs up, and that's it.
Yeah, I see.
But
I mean,
you
what
think-
I'm saying is, I will offer to go if it's going to help to sort of, you know, to get it going. But if it's got to be somebody who's going to be able to put them up, perhaps I'm told.
It's not that. It's just...
But I mean,
don't-
anything to
you don't wanna be
get it off
climbing
the
ladders.
ground.
Yeah.
You don't want to be
Well,
climbing
climbing
up
ladders, health and
ladders.
safety.
No,
and
couldn't.
that.
Yeah.
So,
If you're working on street
Highways,
permits.
So we
highways,
need-
it's training for the
we need-
highways, you see.
so you need,
There's more.
you need us to look for another volunteer, is what you want.
Yeah.
It's at minimum
Okay.
3, don't you?
Yeah.
It'd be good, the more the merrier, really.
Well, yeah.
Because then
Well, obviously
this
it's
will come all
350 to go on the training course.
We haven't bought the equipment yet, have we?
forward. I mean, those quotes are probably out of date, but I shouldn't put it on this.
But I want to know what piece of kit we're buying and then the appropriate training to go with that bit of kit.
Well, it's all the same, no matter what the kit is, because it's the council that...
It's fine, just make sure, but I want to make sure that
Like I said about again, the 2 training organisations, it's up to the volunteers, in my view, to contact the training organisation and put themselves on a course.
Fine.
Simple as doing it.
fine.
Okay.
Okay.
And then once you've had the training, you can decide what you get.
Well, you tell me when you can go, Neil,
Well,
because I'm probably freer than you are.
You were free before, weren't you? You actually give me a date.
I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Did you? Sorry,
All of
my
the
fault.
loans from going around putting up signs.
Okay. Any, well, perhaps we need some more and I won't do it and we'll get someone else to do it. Don't rely on me.
Just get the volunteers.
Get some more volunteers and I'll step out of it.
Do they have to be councillors?
No.
No, I only put because no one else put their hand up.
That's what they did.
What?
Let Johnny do it.
No. Got enough?
Well, I think we need a chap, don't you?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I want somebody to hold the bloody ladder.
What about Ricky?
If I'm going up.
Ricky's too busy as well. He's
Could get some volunteers who live up the road, or we would.
Yeah. But let's make sure we get them by next.
Well, it's this, right, we've identified
we'll
where,
all
we've
look- we'll all
identified where we want the speed indicators. Why don't we talk to the clutch of people, the residents in that area, or the vicinity of where we want it,
Right.
and then they can,
No, yeah, so
so people are
We think
really concerned
in
about it, then,
Blackford,
Then they can do it.
then we want, as you come into Blackford, we talked about that.
Yeah.
didn't we? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a really dangerous spot, that.
But we're not
So
talking
do
about
you
that.
know anybody
No,
who
no,
lives
are
near
we
there?
talking about just...
Are you talking about a
School
sexist
dash?
school?
That's
No,
not
no.
right.
No,
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 and
talking
when
about-
we're in school dash and got somebody trained, then they can train somebody else.
From
no,
Market?
no,
Would you
no.
think
It's got to be done with this official organisation.
No, you have to.
Highways,
Yeah, but when you say coming in from Blackford,
Five is.
Right, can we just have one at a time, thank you?
Sorry.
Right, Pete?
No, we were discussing where the one at Blackford has to go or is likely to be.
I shouldn't worry about that at the moment, because you can't have one until you get somebody trained, and then you decide where you're going to put it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the people who live in, yeah, just a minute, yeah. Yeah, I know the people who live in the farm at the dip.
Yeah.
And George and Annika.
I wonder if,
I just wonder,
What's his
they're
name?
right
Louis.
on the doorstep there.
So
in
what
that
Crooks?
one.
What about Alison
Louis
Crooks?
Crooks would be good.
He'd be
Yeah.
good,
Louis
yeah.
Crooks would
Louis,
do it,
actually.
yes.
I'll ask Louis Crooks, lives
Yeah.
on top of Queen Basham.
Yeah,
Because
Yes.
he's retired now, he's quite a handy man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Um,
good, George.
Good point,
And it's near to his heart, I think.
yeah.
I'll speak
I'll
to
ask Louis
George.
Crooks now.
Okay.
We need 3 people, so if we all do that,
Minimum.
and then we can
Minimum
get
of 3.
some dates again and start again.
Holiday
Okay,
cover
okay.
and what have you.
Yeah.
Around the table.
Yes, we were going round, Judy.
I don't know if anybody else went to the open morning at the,
Oh, yeah,
Sports.
yeah.
Yeah.
well, I did go, and it was very inspiring, I thought. Magnificent building. Lots of, insulation and
Yeah.
very well built. I was very impressed. Very well built. Lots of big things with watering. I'm sure it's going to be extremely efficient. And what a credit to the village. My
It is
husband and I
very
were extremely impressed.
The only problem I see, who's going to pay for the running costs? I know they say the solar panels will, but they won't. Because you're
Well,
going to
it's-
pay somebody to keep it all clean.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's,
No, but they're going to come to the parish for me.
there's plans with regard to concession, with regard to a shop,
And
a
they want to have a
coffee shop.
cafe,
Yeah.
and they want to let it out for
Yeah.
groups,
Cafe,
and,
yeah.
and if it's a lovely space like it looks like it's going to be, and you can have a cup of tea and do your yoga or whatever, I think they'll be swamped with people wanting to go in there. There could be perhaps mums wanting to go in while they're waiting for the kids, and I think there's going to be
Yep.
a great demand up there because it's such a nice place.
I mean, when we go to football on a Saturday morning,
Yeah.
you've got somebody there making bacon sandwiches.
yeah.
And clean up and
Yeah.
coffees and, they're
I
going
think
to have a
that-
cafe, aren't they?
Yeah.
With a bit of insight and a bit of passion, I think that can be a real credit to the village, that place.
It already is,
Yeah,
by
yeah, it is
what's
what's
been
there.
produced now, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really good,
And I
really good.
hope they get the upstairs done.
Yeah, I think they're about
Fantastic
40,
view.
50k away now, is that right?
Yeah.
So I think now people, we see it time and time again, once people see its success, they want to be associated with it, don't they? So hopefully that target will be met really soon. So yes, thank you, Judy. Thank you, Candy, Judy.
Yeah, everybody
Sorry.
calls me Candy.
Pete?
No, nothing.
Anything? No? Liz?
Every time I drive past Blackford Church, that wall bothers me. The post on that wall, it's cracked, it's dangerous, I would think.
Where the tractor went into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it going to get fixed soon? Because to me, that's going to fall down.
Well, after how long it took the last time, it was quite a length of time, wasn't it? The fact that the railings got removed fairly quickly, didn't they? Within a
But-
fortnight of the crash.
It looks dangerous.
They got to get the.
But it might be worth,
dispensation
because Benjamin Beecham look after the maintenance regarding Blackford
Oh,
Church, didn't they?
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe just
It looks dangerous.
whether
doesn't
they
it?
know anything about it. They did manage the previous repairs, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, on behalf of the insurers. So
We suspect, Mr. Chairman, it's a very expensive item if they have to take some of it down, because it's got a chest-high bank the other side of it, and graves within
Yeah.
inches. It's
they were very
Yeah.
fortunate that the headstone didn't go over, weren't
Yeah.
they? It was very, very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. I don't know if Mr. Sissons seems to have a lot to do. I don't know if he's the church warden or
I don't know.
whatever, but
I don't know.
I mean, David has a lot, and Bun, they have a lot to do with the church. I mean, we had a funeral there of Mrs. Bun last Wednesday, and there were, they seem to be the people who were you know, because it was a lot of people
I
there.
don't think it's the church's responsibility to repair that now, you know. You know the church, it was St Mary's Church on the corner, was bashed by a four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
There, that.
And I spoke to Mike Gilder the next day, or the day after the change, he was saying, so who does this now, the local church council? He said, no, it's nothing to do with us.
No, so
That's Sedgemore, but that's a closed churchyard.
Yeah.
Blackford isn't closed
Well, that's
yet.
the difference. isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Closed.
Just to let you know that I spoke to somebody at Central on you about 2 days ago, and he's having a meeting there yesterday to sort out the wall.
Yeah.
Because I understand you've been coming, the St Mary's one. So that's in hand. But Sedgemore are responsible for repairing
So
it.
the one in
Yeah.
Blackburn is the church council,
Spoke
isn't it?
about it when they.
Well, it would be in insurance,
But
won't
the field will be
it was a
that.
tractor
That's
insurance.
right.
It was a tractor, I mean, I don't know.
No, church council.
Imagine that the church, that there would be insurance policy, particularly when they spent a lot of money putting the railings
Yeah.
Previously.
back,
Yes.
Yeah.
for the however many times the wall's been hit, because it has.
So who's the church warden then? Do you know, is it?
But I think certainly
Yeah.
the Sissons seem to have as much to do with the church as anyone, as I said,
That's what
they,
David does. Yeah.
yes.
So perhaps we should G him up a
I mean,
bit.
I would, certainly David would know anyway, yeah. I mean, if you want me to see David and ask him what the progress is on it.
If you could, and
I'm
Rod,
quite happy to do that, you see him very, very often,
That'd be good.
because they open the church every day.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I'll find out and then I'll let you know what
and
progress
Rod
there
could
is.
maybe make some inquiries with Benjamin
Because
Beecham
one
as well.
imagines, sorry to just, you know,
That's fine.
I suspect that they're, you know, usually insurance companies fight this, don't they? Of
Yeah.
who was wrong, if you like, you know, I don't know, but I imagine that that's why it is apparently there's been absolutely, they've cleared the railings off.
But there was a picture of the tractor and trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair mess.
We
Disagree with it.
actually came round
Probably on
the
his
corner,
phone, I suppose,
came
wasn't
down the corner. I was probably the second person after the crash when it came. when it went over.
Lucky.
And I was like, oh my God, for anybody to
Yeah.
be coming in
No,
the way,
no, you're absolutely right.
it would have
People
been
walking along
horrendous.
there, that have been, yeah.
Yeah, car walking, they'd be dead. Car, they'd be dead. It was
Anyway.
terrible. But anyway,
Okay.
no,
Anything? No? Steve?
No.
Okay. Correspondence?
No,
Steve? No? 17 committee reports, cemetery.
Yeah, we've got to have a meeting. Yeah, I will organise it for March, I promise.
okay.
Give us
And the
a
tap's
date,
done.
Dennis.
Oh, sorry, that was the allotment, sorry.
I'll send you one.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Have you got any dates? that you
Mike,
can?
Yeah, and I'm away.
Well, I
only
mean, you
one.
just have to, yeah.
Only one in March. Yeah. Okay. So,
Finance.
Nothing,
Send me
Chairman.
some dates when you can't come.
Housing. Street names, we haven't heard anything from Acorn. Highways, car park in Brook.
And I've been very busy lately and I realise I've been a bit lax not chasing up the highways people about the chevrons up on
Yes.
Mr. Huxwell, what was which
Yeah,
one was
David was
I was
disappointed
hoping to be
you weren't
today,
there.
because
Oh,
you're disappointed.
disappointed, yeah.
just talking about the chevrons and the highways, you know the ones they put outside the post office? The chevrons that they've now put outside the post.
I want you to talk about the road
Sorry.
markings, yeah.
Yeah, the hatch.
Yeah, the hatching, yeah.
Is there any reason why they left
The space.
one
No,
space?
No, I mean, it was, that was the second time of asking they came back and did that, because they did it wrong the first time. They've left the white line too high up for up the road as well. I don't know why they did that, so I'll take a photograph and, the next time they come round, I dare say they'll blank a bit about and redo that bit again. I don't know.
Stupid.
They are used, yeah.
You know.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay.
the
Frustrating.
planning meeting next Wednesday for the members, there's 8 applications in,
Really? Wow.
7 and a tree. So at the moment,
Who are we chairing?
Nick Avery's the chair,
What is that?
27th.
And we've got a laptop we can use now, we are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Wow.
the
Yeah.
laptop's all, it's all
Yeah.
been soaked up, ready.
Yeah.
All the plans are on there.
Reports from reps and committees, Isle of Wentworth News.
Yeah, we had a meeting last week, all is going well. We're going to have to put up the price of advertising, but that will be from September. Yeah, it's going pretty well, nothing desperate's happening. We're going to, decided to give away about £2,000 this year, so we're going to ask for people to submit bids for funding in the April edition. So there'll be £2,000 that I'm going to give away.
Excellent. Okay. Players, nothing from me, but
I've got some quotes in for cutting out the trees at Blackford, and they are, well, there's 2 quotes for them, and they're just ridiculous. One's 2,200, the other's about half that price.
Which you taking out?
Sorry?
Which tree you taking?
Pruning the trees down along the road where the bus shelter is.
Oh yeah, right.
Because they're up in the wires and all sorts. So I need to have a look at these quotes because they just don't seem right at the moment. The 2 quotes I've had in from local tree surgeons, one at Blackford, one at Peel, which we used before, and there's just poles apart, which is strange. I know we've got to have road maintenance, traffic signs while it's going on, but it just seems ridiculous, the disparity of the quotes. Usually not that far apart, but this is 1,000. Yeah, well.
okay.
With the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra.
Salt?
Nothing at all, except to tell you that the parish clerks have been granted a pay rise as from the 1st of April, 1.9%, not too much.
Who's this?
Parish clerks, a national agreement. That's right.
With your support, Rod, pensions have got a bigger rise.
Okay, let's look forward to that.
Playing fields management, Laura obviously is not here, but thanks to Judy for, and how many did go up to the, did everyone go make a?
No, I made my apologies.
No, you reported, I did see Charlotte, so, no, really impressive, really impressive. Virtuals. Matters of report and items for the next meeting. Ours will be regarding the meeting with Lucy.
Yeah. Lovely to meet you.
Members.
I'll turn the camera off. Excuse me.